Hi all, hope you're having a great day. This is Maro, welcome to my channel. So I've been working on my grind to Henry, so I've had a chance to play quite a lot of games in Charles Martel and now St. Louis, and the way both ships are played, it's very similar because they are both long-range HE spammers. In that way, they're very similar to the Russian cruiser line. So I had a game that I think really highlights what this ship is good at, and I wanted to share it with you all. So the matchmaking is tier 9, no CV. There is a fair number of battleships, and given that the battleships are the primary targets of this ship, it's a pretty good matchmaking. The map is Greece. So I spawn on the west side, and here it's not a bad place to spawn. My concern are those two islands, which may somewhat hamper my movement from left to right. But given that the destroyer is already headed for the cap, and I think Georgia also seems in a rush to get to the cap, I decide to really approach the cap, keep to the right of it, and at the first sign of the enemy ships, look to probably turn away. Now, the issue here is, given that my concealment is 13 kilometers, it makes it hard to turn away if I get too close. And even with the destroyer being 6 or 7 kilometers in front, that means at the time that I'm spotted and start to turn away, the destroyer can already see me, and sometimes the destroyer can see me even before our destroyer spots the opposite destroyer. So it's very important to give myself enough room to be able to turn away. Here in this case, Georgia, because it's in a rush, she's in a rush to get closer to the cap. She's really kind of preventing me from turning away, so it makes it very uncomfortable for me knowing that I cannot go to the right. I'm kind of locked in this course, but there is a larger island that's ahead of me that I can use to turn around safely. So I decide to continue on. The Donskoy, the tier 9 long-range Russian cruiser, is coming up. So the playstyle of the both cruisers is pretty similar, except that Donskoy has a radar, 12-kilometer radar, and it also has the Russian guns with very high velocity, which makes it easier to hit things at distance, especially destroyers. That's something that the French cruiser line doesn't really have, because in terms of consumables, you have a hydro, you have a speed boost, you have a heal, and you have the reload boost. So the guns are okay, but they are not as fast as the Russian guns. So sometimes when the target is really trying to maneuver, when they are wiggling, it's kind of kiting, it gets harder to hit them. Now, battleships typically have less ability to do so, so it makes it easier to really farm damage from them. In this case, the FDG is just kind of barely moving, which makes it a perfect target for me because it's really easy to shoot at a target that's not moving. I think I've already started 2 fires, and I'm going to continue to shoot at him. I'm going to continue to kite. Just watch that Donskoy is not able to score free damage on me. I can see that a lot of enemy ships are already at the cap, at the A cap. So I want to make sure that I'm never in a position where I'm too close and easy to hit, because typically what happens is, while a lot of shells, especially the battleship shells, tend to miss, the ones when they score, they do register a lot of damage, and it's pretty common to suffer from a citadel hit here and there because the armor is really not providing any protection. In this case, FDG has decided to disengage, which again makes it an easy target for me because its ability to maneuver is reduced. Approximately, it's very easy to aim and score hits. So by this point, I've already started 4 fires, and I've already, I think, increased the distance where now I actually have to turn around and re-engage again. Now at this point here, the red team really doesn't have any visibility on me, so it's quite easy to turn around and get closer to the red ships to re-engage. So our fleet at sea, our team at sea, is making progress. The 2 ships are really well behind Fletcher, given that it appears there is only 1 destroyer there. They could be a lot more aggressive. There is a big fight going at B. And I'm looking to reacquire targets here. So I see that FDG is out again. She appears to be stopped. So I start firing here. I think I saw the guns were slightly off. Now this is a little maybe too aggressive from me because I still haven't really turned around. I'm in the process of turning. My broadside is exposed, and if the enemy was keeping closer track of me, they'd be able to take me out. By this point, I've had a chance to make my turn. And now I'm in a perfect position for this ship, which is really a kiting position. Now, the problem with my re-engaging in this manner is that whenever I do this and make the turn, the turrets on St. Louis are pretty slow. So it does take a long time for me to get all 9 guns firing in the same direction. Also, and I think that just happened and I repaired it, my rudder was injured and was damaged, and this actually happens quite a lot in this ship. It's very open, and it happens a lot where any hit in or around that area will cause your rudder to be damaged and get stuck. And other than captain skill, I'm not really sure what more one can do to try to protect that area, especially given that you're always looking to kite. Hence, any shells that hit are bound to hit in that general area. So here the FDG has decided to re-engage, and he started to push, which is again a perfect scenario for this ship. Pushing battleship presents an easy target. I can control the range easily where I'm comfortable. I think here maybe it's slightly closer than I would like it to be, but it seems that the FDG has lost interest in shooting me. So I think I primarily engaged the ship, and I think I've started probably, what is that? 9 fires? Probably 8 of those are on the FDG. So clearly a lot of HE and a lot of fire damage. So again, I have to change the direction that I'm going in, and this presents me with a problem with my front turrets, given the time that it takes. Now FDG is pushing straight into our battleships, and there's quite a lot of them there. So I feel even safer for me, that it's even safer for me to turn around and re-engage. Here I'm still kiting, and given that the FDG is behind the island, I cannot really target it. We lose a battleship there, but I think it's a trade that happens. In any case, we still have 2 battleships to their 1 red battleship, which doesn't really have a lot of health points left. So I decide to turn in and get closer to the combat and directly engage with the battleship. This again could have been more risky, but I see the battleships are brawling, and I think unless FDG was interested in ramming the FDG from our team and then engaging with me, I felt it was fairly safe for me to continue to engage it. And here I get the Witherer reward, and I think most of that, if not all of it, comes from this battleship. So it just tells you what the power of those HE shells, and even more importantly, the power to start the fires is. So that's 10 fires started and 104k in damage already. So my team has 2 caps. They have a cap in the middle. It seems that we're really kind of making the move on the eastern flank. So it seems that pretty soon they'll be flanked, and then they may be caught in the crossfire. At this point, I am really far from the action, and getting closer to 14-15 kilometers. I think it tends to be an optimal range. Now, if the battleship has more precise guns, then that opens you up to a lot more damage. And while, as I said earlier, some of the AP shells will miss, then there will be a salvo or just one sit, and before you know it, a third or even half of your health is gone. So that's something that you have to learn to live with the ship. I think a nice change for a tier 9 in comparison to tier 8 Charles Martel is that you get your heal. So 4 heals, I believe, at 5,000 or so HP points each. That's 20,000. Now, citadels, I think, are only recovered at 30%. And typically, the battleship AP shells, when they hit you, they do cause a lot of damage. So sometimes you may not be able to recover all of that damage. Nevertheless, it allows you an opportunity to play more aggressively and take more risks. In this game, I have not really taken too many unnecessary risks, at least in terms of how close I've gotten to the enemy team. I've kept my distance, and I think if you look at the map and you see where all the ships are, you can see that I'm a lot further away from the enemy than a lot of my teammates. I think especially those 2 Seattles that are engaging FDG. So now here it's the same situation as with the first FDG that I engaged. He is pushing. I think his focus is on the Seattles, which are a lot closer, and one of them just died. However, I am left to engage and fire with really no worry in terms of getting fired back on. So I continue to start fires. I continue to chip at her, and while the other Seattle is alive, the battleship's attention is away from me. Now that Seattle has died, he of course turns around the ship, points the gun in my direction, and looks to engage me. In terms of distance, this is a little closer than I would like to be. I think, below 12 or even 14 kilometers, it may be tricky here. I'm lucky that this is FDG, and the accuracy of these guns is not the best. And also 6 shells moving in my direction is not necessarily the biggest damage. Although I have to say that looked like more than 6. So I don't know if I'm mixing up gunners now with FDG, and FDG may have 2 more. In any case, ideal scenario: Sol battleship engaging with me at a distance. I will look to dodge, and I will just spam HE. I was very aggressive with the battery reload booster, so I've already used it up. And as I look to finish the battleship, I think she uses her repair. And I'm really looking to chip more, start a fire, and it's really just a matter of time. This battleship cannot save itself. I'm in a perfect position for me. I'm able to kite. I am able to take even more damage if I need to. I have a heal. I have a lot of health, so I am fine with taking more damage. And the battleship's ability to dodge is not great. So at this point, it's just about shooting the ships and shooting the battleship and waiting for her to die, which she does. However, at this point, while we do have two caps, and Dmitry Donskoy is looking to cap A, it's only the two ships that are left. So it's 2 versus 3. Rune and Lion are really way out of the position, and it's very hard for them to make it back in time. The Fletcher is very close to Donskoy, and I think he just had a very successful torpedo run. So she's keeping her spotted. So I decide to turn back and re-engage. Now, given the great distance, this is going to take some time for me to get there. But at 17 kilometers, I can already start to re-engage. I see that Donskoy is sitting there, not moving. However, looking at the point disparity, and I think my team is about to win in 1 minute and 40 seconds, this Donskoy doesn't really have a lot of options right now. So it needs to move and re-engage, which starts to make it easier for me. I think I am currently blocked with the islands, so I have the spotting from the Fletcher, and I am able to continue to shoot at the ship. So I also switched to AP here because it has more of the broadside, and I wanted to inflict more damage on the ship. In retrospect, maybe not the best move, not because AP is not very viable, it's that one of the missions that I was trying to accomplish is set a ship 18 times on fire. And here I already have done it for 17 times. So if I kept the HE shells, I may have gotten that one more fire. So I think my last volley almost destroys Donskoy, but the Fletcher finishes her off. And at this point we have 3 caps. It's only a few more seconds left before we get the points we need. So overall, it was a good game. It highlights what the ship is very good at when the scenario is perfect. In the end, it's a victory for the team, and that's what matters. 178,000 damage, Wither award, 17 fires. In terms of table, top of the team, just under 2,000 points. In terms of damage, it's primarily the 2 FDG battleships, 130,000, around 85,000 in fire damage. It just shows the impressive output when it comes to fire starting that St. Louis had. So that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please don't forget to hit the like button. If you loved it, please subscribe. You can also join me on Twitch every day, Monday through Friday, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for watching, stay safe and take care.